Good morning, all. Uh, in the last lecture, we have started voltage protection of power devices. In this particular topic, we can protect our power devices in a four different way by connecting snubber circuits, then a reverse recovery transients, voltage protection using selenium diode, and voltage protection using MOVs. So these are the four different methods where we can protect our devices from any high voltage uh, spike. So first one, there is a snubber circuit. This snubber circuit consists of one capacitor and resistor. With the help of this snubber circuit, we can, with the help of this snubber circuit, we can maybe protect our power devices from any high voltage spikes. Okay. Normally, when we turn on and off the devices, high voltage spikes may generate or transient, and that transients will appear across the power device, which may damage your power devices. Okay. So snubber circuit protect your devices from such type of transients, which may occur during on and off of a device, and that because of these transients, your power devices may damage. Okay. So we have to use normally higher power rating devices than whatever the rating or maybe the circuit power applied or input power, but still that is not the proper solution. So to use the snubber circuit along with the power devices is a good solution to avoid or to overcome the stress of a high voltage transients on a device. Okay. So the snubber circuits or maybe a high voltage transients will produce by different ways, as already we discussed in the last lecture and even uh, in this lecture, that is during turn on and turn off the power devices, the high voltage transients may generate. Even at the primary to secondary, if there will be a turn on and turn off, because of that, also some transient or high voltage spikes may generate, which may damage your devices. Okay. So these snubber circuits are the circuits which limit the voltage applied to the device during switch off transients, limit device current during switch on transients, then limiting the rate of current rise, that is di by dt, flows in the device during switch on. This yesterday I have discussed with you that if the device is turns on, even if you see the old lamp that we are using at our home, many times it may damage when we turn on the lamp or turn off the lamp, right? So when we turn on and off, high voltage current spikes or maybe a voltage spikes applied to that device, and because of that device may damage, right? So it is because of transition of a switch. These spikes generates due to the transition of a switch, and these high voltage spikes or maybe a high rate of change of current, initial current, definitely damages your devices, or sometimes false triggering takes place. Okay. Then limiting the rate of voltage rise, that is dV by dt across the device. Normally these snubber circuits are mostly used to avoid any high voltage, that is the rate of change of voltage across the device, and shaping of wave switching trajectory of the device as it is switch on and off. So this is also the another source of high voltage spikes. So snubber circuits is normally connected across the semiconductor devices to limit the rate of change of voltage within the maximum allowable rating. This is again important because we are selecting the components in such a way that the voltage transients or maybe a current transients which are allowed to pass to the device, that we can uh, maybe change so that we can allow the voltage spikes within the limit. Okay, so or even current, right? So for protection of high current spikes, we are normally using a fuse, right? So fuses are selected in such a way that if you're a power device having a current handling capacity of 10 ampere, so we should select the fuse below than 10 milliampere so that the maximum current handling capacity of a device, your current should not exceed that rating, right? So power device, if it handles up to the 10 ampere, so we are connecting a fuse in series the power device to break at 9 ampere so that the device may protect it from any high current spike. Okay. So remember this thing, whatever the sentence is given, the snubber circuit components are selected in such a way that whatever the maximum voltage handling capacity of that device, so this circuit will allow lower than of that so that the device is protected from any kind of damage. Okay. Now the devices or maybe snubber circuits may be classified as a polarized type, that is reverse polarized type and unpolarized type. Uh, normally, different conditions are there. So according to the conditions, the devices are connected. If you are connecting a diode that is parallel to the thyristor, then we are called it as a polarized circuit. Okay. So diode is also connected in parallel with the thyristor to protect the thyristor from any reverse voltage, that is high voltage applied across the device. So during actually it is used in during inductive load. So that type of circuit is called as a polarized type. In this circuit, the capacitor C, R, and R1, these three components are important. So select the value of these three capacitors, these components in such a way that so whatever the high voltage spikes that we may apply across the device, that should not extend the maximum handling capacity of that device. That is allowable voltage of that device. Okay. So capacitor, what happen exactly, students, if you apply voltage between the terminal where the pointer is shown cursor, so voltage anode with respect to cathode, if you're applying, what happens if suppose high voltage spikes generate at the input side, this capacitor bypass that high voltage spike towards the resistor, and resistor slow down whatever voltage high voltage spike applied, right? So automatically high voltage spikes, they are pass through this capacitor because high voltage spikes, that time the frequency of that spike is very high, so capacitive reactance is very slow or very low, so it passes all the voltage spikes to the capacitor towards the R, and this R limit that voltage to the specified level. Okay. See, forward polarized snubber circuit is suitable when thyristor or transistor is connected with anti-parallel diode. This connection is normally used with RL load. So resistor R limit the forward dV by dt, and the resistor R1 limit the discharge current, that is di by dt of a capacitor when the device is switched on, right? So this R1 is used to discharge the capacitor and R is used to limit the high dV by dt. If you see the characteristics of this particular circuit, so if the input is applied across the SCR, if it is changes from 0 to 1000 volt, right? So definitely it is very high rate of change of voltage. So to many times the device may trigger without any gate, that is called false triggering, or sometimes the device may damage, right? So this type of circuit, what happens exactly, if you see the curve, this curve shows that it is a capacitor charging, right? So normally what happens, whatever voltage you are applying, once it will apply, then at steady state your capacitor start to charge because that is a DC voltage, so capacitors start to charge. But at the change when it changes from 0 to high, that time capacitor simply pass that high voltage spikes towards the resistor R, which limit the high dV by dt. And at steady state, this capacitor start to charge. Okay, so slowly the voltage across capacitor is equal to the Vs. And if you are applying gate pulse, then your thyristor turns on, right? So this capacitor voltage, which increases slowly, whatever the time t or tau, that is RC time constant, it is depends upon the value of R and C. Okay, so this time constant you can increase or decrease, that depends upon the value of R and C. If the voltage handling capacity, if you want to increase, you can increase the time period. If you want to decrease, you can change the value of resistor. But resistor and capacitor should be fixed, but you can change the value of resistor R, right? So as you increase or decrease the resistor R, the charging time of this capacitor increase or decrease. According to that, you can turn on and turn off the thyristor. When thyristor, this capacitor start to discharge, that time the resistor R1, basically, which limit the discharge current. If suppose this discharge current is also having a high transient, it may damage your device, right? So this resistor R1 is used to limit the any high current transients. Okay, so initially capacitor charges from supply to capacitor upper plate positive, negative, lower plate negative, through resistor R1 to D3 back to the negative supply of a source. And whenever the voltage across capacitor is greater than VAK, that is the anode to cathode voltage, and if you are applying the gate pulse, then your SCR turns on. Okay, so this is the polarized. Similarly, reverse polarized and unpolarized. These are the three different configurations. If suppose diode is not connected, it means if you are not using the inductive load, that time you can use this unpolarized or reverse polarized, in which diode is not connected across the thyristor. Again, the reverse polarized and unpolarized, they are working, or maybe the see this graph characteristics curve is similar for all. Okay, just according to the application, that reverse polarized number circuit and that is uh, uh, that is unpolarized type is used. Okay, so this particular reverse polarized number, which limit the reverse dv by dt, as shown, the resistor R1 limits the discharge current, and the capacitor C, the capacitor does not discharge through the device, resulting losses losses in the device. Okay, when a pair of thyristor is connected, that is third circuit. If you are using anti-parallel SCRs, so unpolarized type, that time simply one capacitor and resistor, so which may protect both the SCR T1 and T2. Both SCRs are protected with the help of these two. Only forward voltage that you can protect, maybe high voltage, that is forward blocking voltage, and capacity of these devices may be protected. So these are the three different type of circuits. But I again suggest you, I'll share you the notes, the handwritten notes with you, because only one part of this unit is remaining. So immediately after the end of this unit, I'll share you the handwritten notes of unit number second, as well as the soft copy of a notes. Even I have made a soft copy of a notes, so I'll send you that soft copy even. So both notes you can refer. So snubber circuit is again clearly explained in my handwritten notes. So it may help you. So that I'll share you after completing this unit. Okay. Then reverse recovery transients. Due to reverse recovery time TRR, as we know that a turn off characteristics of SCR, we all already learned that turn off characteristics of SCR, the turn off characteristics is affected by reverse recovery transients, right? So due to the reverse recovery transients and recovery current, that is IR, amount of energy is stored in the inductance of a circuit. As the result, transient voltage appear across the device, right? Normally what happens, this reverse recovery transients, when we turn off the device, some negative current flow through the device, and because of that, the voltage transient, that is this voltage basically is stored in a inductance of a circuit. So this reverse voltage that is appear across the device, and in addition to dV by dt protection, snubber circuit also limit the peak transient voltage across the devices, right? So the equivalent circuit of a snubber, that is maybe in the next slide. So that is given here. That again called as a polarized, in which we are connecting a diode that is parallel to the power device. So initially, when the voltage source Vs is just connected, the voltage across capacitor is zero, because the voltage transients is from zero to high. So that time the voltage across capacitor is zero. When your input voltage is at steady state, when your capacitor start to charge. Okay. So voltage across capacitor is zero, and the current flow in the inductor is IR. Okay. So diode DM is used to bypass the current during switching from one polarity to another polarity. As already we told you that normally diode is connected anti-parallel or parallel to the SCR to protect your device from any reverse voltage when it is turn switches from on to off or from off to on. Normally diode is always connected in a circuit called as a freewheeling diode if you are using inductive load. But in some circuits, the diode is always connected because the circuit inductance is large. So due to that circuit inductance, some voltage definitely stored in that circuit inductance, and that voltage may appear across the device in reverse direction. Okay. So that reverse voltage, if appear across the device, your device may damage, right? So in some circuits, the diode is always connected parallel to the SCR, so that when you turn on the device or turn off the device, that time the polarity of a capacitor charge voltage get reversed, so that that voltage may appear across the device. So to bypass the voltage, this DM is connected. See here in this circuit, during the input voltage applied, the capacitor charges upper plate positive, lower plate negative, right? So capacitor charges, but during discharge, whatever the circuit inductance or maybe a inductance L, right? So this inductance L store the energy, the positive at the Vs terminal, negative at the second one. If you able to see the cursor position, you can understand that when we apply this voltage Vs, the inductor store the energy, the polarity of that store energy positive at the current cursor position and negative at the other side, right? But whenever the supply is reversed, the stored energy across inductor get also changes its polarity. So the previously the positive is, that is first terminal where the cursor position is given, and negative second. So this will be reversed. So terminal voltage, particular inductor maybe inductor voltage changes. So definitely this may damage your device. So what happens? That voltage flow through the diode, so that the high reverse voltage will not appear across the device, right? So that is basically this diode is also called as a freewheeling diode, and normally this diode is connected across the power device to protect your power devices from any reverse voltage due to the circuit inductance or due to the inductance of a load. If you are using inductive load, definitely that time the diodes which are always connected as a freewheeling diode, so that whatever the reverse energy that is stored across the inductive load, that may appear across the SCR, and because of that SCR may get damaged. So we are using freewheeling diode. Okay. So what is the purpose of freewheeling diode or this diode? It is just used to protect the device from inductance energy. Whenever the supply get reversed, the polarity of stored charge in inductance also get reversed. And if that reverse voltage appear across the device, your device may damage. Okay. So to protect the device from Uh, so to protect the power devices from reverse energy or energy stored across inductor which may appear across the SCR when the supply voltage get reversed. So for that purpose, normally these freewheeling diodes are connected. So normally it happens that is in reverse bias condition, the reverse recovery transients appear due to the circuit inductance and that may damage your power devices. So we are using the Snubble circuit. Then voltage protection by using some special devices. Okay, as everyone knows the Zener diode, right? So Zener diode, if we connect that Zener diode in reverse bias condition, so it acts as a voltage regulator. Everyone knows because everyone might have learned Zener diode in first year as well as in second year, right? So similarly, there are some non-linear surge suppressor or devices which may help to protect the power devices from any high voltage transients. Okay, so that is two type of devices which are given in your syllabus. One is called MOVs or varistor, metal oxide varistor or simply called varistor, and second one is a selenium surge suppressor, also called as a selenium diode. Okay, so it is very similar to the Zener diode. Even you can use Zener diode, but the power voltage handling capacity of a Zener diode in reverse bias condition is up to only 600. So 600 is a very small voltage. So no use of a Zener diode in a power circuit. But you can use Zener diode if the power handling capacity of a circuit or input power of a circuit is less, right? So similarly, Zener diode, this non-linear surge suppressors, that is called varistor or selenium diode, both are works. Okay. Now I'll just explain you how the Zener diode works in a short. Then I will go for the varistor and move. Okay. So in a Zener diode, normally Zener diodes are connected in a reverse bias condition, right? When Zener diode turns on in reverse bias condition due to Zener effect or avalanche effect, below 6 volt it is called Zener effect and above 6 volt called as the avalanche effect. So due to avalanche effect, Zener diode turns on in reverse bias condition. After that, the voltage across that device remains constant. Only current, whatever increased current flow through the device, right? And voltage, if you measure across the device, it remains constant, right? So that voltage remains constant. It means that actually you are protecting your circuit. Uh, Zener diode is used as a regulator, right? So regulator is used to protect the circuit and electronic circuits from any high voltage transients. So similarly, selenium diode or varistors are also used to protect the devices uh, from high voltage transients, right? You just remember whatever the Zener regulator you have learned in a first year or second year, then definitely you will easily understand these two devices. Okay, I'll just show you what is the characteristics of Zener diode. This characteristics is very similar to the Zener diode. If it is visible to you, I don't know exactly if it's visible or not. So anyone uh, unmute yourself and tell me, is it visible to you or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. So this particular characteristics, if you see, this characteristics is very similar to the diode characteristics, right? Diode characteristics, if you see, it turns on after some voltage, that is zero point 0.6 or zero point 0.7, zero point 0.7 for silicon diode and zero point 0.1 or zero point 0.2 for germanium diode. Once that diode turns on, the current increases exponentially, right? And voltage across that diode, the voltage across diode is equal to the on state voltage drop, right? Again, internet connection is unstable. I don't know, is it visible you? uh, so this particular characteristics of a diode and characteristics of move both are same in forward bias condition. but simply the voltage handling capacity of a move in a forward bias condition is also high. That is 2 to 300 volt, right? Normally, this device is used in a forward bias condition. Okay, and what happens here, once the device turns on, after that the current through that device increases, but if you see the voltage remains constant, right? Two type of materials are used, not a normal silicon or germanium material is used to construct this particular varistor. This varistor, if you see the picture that I have given in a slide and symbol, even the symbol is looks like a variable resistor, right? But if you see the actual device, it look like a capacitor, right? So this is actually a variable resistor or varistor, right? So this varistor is a variable resistor. It means that uh, this varistor up to the turn on voltage, the resistance offered by this particular thyristor is very large, so current is ideally zero. But if you reach to the voltage, that is whatever rating of that device, after that the resistance decreases so that the current increases, right? And voltage across that device remains constant. So such devices are frequently used in place of or in conjunction with the relative networks. It means it is limiting voltage surge. They are selected to pass acceptably small current at a normally working voltage. This is very important. They are selected to pass acceptably small current at normal working voltage, but sufficiently large current at higher voltage to limit the surge at tolerable level. So this characteristics shows itself at 300 volt. This device, you can say, turns on. After that you can see the current increases very sharp, that is maybe you can say straight. And after that the voltage, the 300 volt, it may increases slightly, but it is very small change in voltage, right? You can use either in positive or negative direction in both, because it doesn't have any polarity. So if you apply positive voltage or negative voltage, it may be used for both one, right? So characteristic shows that uh, in reverse direction also at 300 volt, the device uh, increases the current through the device and keeping voltage across device constant, as even in a forward bias condition. So either in positive voltage or negative voltage, not forward and reverse. If your voltage is positive or negative, right? So they are selected to pass acceptably small current at a normal working voltage, right? So the devices are designed in such a way that they are passes very small current at a normally working voltage. So you can say normal voltage is up to the 300 volt, but after 300 volt, if your voltage is increased, then a large current at higher voltage that is flow through the device to limit the surge, right? So this is a device. MOV consists of a pair of metal contact plates because it looks like a capacitor. So it is actually a capacitor, but the symbol is look like a variable resistor, right? So MOV consists of pair of metal contact plates separated by a thin layer of small zinc oxide or silicon carbide. According to that, there will be a two different type of uh, voltage handling capacity, even characteristics, right? So silicon carbide or a zinc oxide, any type of material that is as a insulating material between these two plates is used. So according to the insulating material, the characteristics of that devices may vary. Okay, it is used in a forward bias condition. The voltage rating is from 6 volt to 2800 volt. So 2800 volt. In this particular characteristics, if you see the varistor which has used up to only 300 volt, right? But the varistors are available in the market which can be used up to the 200, sorry, 2800 volt, right? So that much voltage ratings are available in the market. If you see Zenith diode, that can be used below 6 volt, and avalanche diode can be used up to 600 volt. But this MOV can be used up to the 2800 volt. It is also called as avalanche diode suppressor. This is another name of this MOV. Okay, so it is simply a variable resistor the resistance is changes as your voltage changes. Initially, the resistance is very high, right? So that the current is very small, but as you increase the voltage beyond the defined level of voltage, after that the resistance decreases and current to the device increases, so that the voltage across device remains constant. Okay. So next one is voltage protection using selenium diode. This is another device. Uh, Again, it has two types, polarized and non-polarized. This device is asked 2-3 times in examination. So keep in mind, this device is very similar to the Zener diode or your simple PN junction diode. If you see that characteristics of this diode in forward bias condition, it is very similar to the PN junction diode, but in reverse bias condition, the breakdown voltage of this diode is very large, right? So normally this diode is used in a reverse bias condition, right? Because in forward bias condition, it may turns on after 1 volt and it will work as very similar to the simple PN junction diode. Uh, and in reverse bias condition, this diode uh, that is turns on at particular voltage. After that, the current through that device, it is very similar to the characteristics of a Zener diode. Only the breakdown voltage is larger. In Zener diode, this voltage is equal to maximum 600, and in selenium diode, it may be more than 3000 volts. It can handle up to the 3000 volts, right? So the characteristics, if you see, it is very similar to the Zener diode. Zener diode, if you are using in forward bias condition, it will simply act as a PN junction diode. Similarly, if you are using this selenium diode in forward bias condition, it may simply act as a PN junction diode. But if you are using it in reverse bias condition, so up to the particular value of voltage, very small current flow through the device, that is maybe a reverse saturation current. But at a particular value of voltage, this is a reverse voltage that may appear across your power device, and because of that device may damage. So such type of selenium diode, which is normally connected parallel to the power device, so that if any high voltage, reverse voltage spike appear across the device, that time this selenium diode turns on and protect your power devices from any damage. Okay. So this diode is always connected in reverse bias condition. Selenium diode can be used to protect against over voltage transient. The diode has low forward voltage and good reverse breakdown voltage capacity, right? Its current voltage characteristics is the same as normal silicon diode. When it is used in a normally connected at its reverse bias mode, when the current flow in the device is extremely low, which is basically its reverse saturation current due to the minority charge carrier. However, when over voltage appear, that is reverse voltage appear, the reverse saturation current flow through the diode increases suddenly, and that would reduce the transient voltage and limit it to about twice the normal applied voltage, right? So whatever the capacity of the diode in forward bias condition, if suppose the voltage handling capacity of this device, so it may be handle the twice of the normal voltage applied, right? It has a two types. One is called polarized, another is called non-polarized. So in a polarized version, has all the plates arranged in the same direction. It is again very similar to the construction of varistor. So there are a number of plates which are connected so that this device is manufactured. The polarized version has all the plates arranged in the same direction and hence handles over voltage in one direction only. So it is suitable for only DC circuits. Okay. And non-polarized, this type has plates arranged in both directions so that it can be used for AC circuits. Okay. And each cell of a selenium diode is normally rated at RMS voltage of 25 volt, and its clamping voltage is about 72 volt. So it can be clamped or it can be handled the voltage. See, RMS voltage of 25 volt, the capacity is given, but it has the clamping voltage or maybe a voltage handling capacity up to 72 volt. This is a very large voltage handling capacity. So, for example, that is given here. If the DC circuit of 210 is to be protected with a 25-volt selenium cell, then 9 cells will be required. That is 210 divided by 25 equal to 9 cells, and clamping voltage we can say 9 cells into 72. So totally 648 volt you can maybe clamp, right? So see, only 210-volt circuit you are applying, or you are connecting this selenium diode where the normal operating voltage is 210 volt,